Hello and welcome to this short presentation on the Key Stage 1 SATs assessments. We're just going to give you a short presentation for parents following the guidance on the 2021-22 Key Stage 1 SATs. If you have any questions following this, please don't hesitate to speak to the class teachers, Key Stage 1 lead Mrs Clark or myself as well. Okay, so in recent years, we used to use levels to assess children, but from 2016, schools have started using something called scaled scores. The reason for this was following a new curriculum approach to make it more rigorous and to set higher expectations, which schools have worked on for the last few years. So what is a scaled score? It is planned that 100 will always represent the national standard. So if pupils are 100 or above, it means that they are working at a similar standard to pupils across the country at the same age at the expected standard. And if it's below 100, it means we're working towards or slightly below the expected standard. How those scaled scores are created is from a raw score taken from the pupil paper. For instance, if the paper is out of 20 marks, then you may get 18 out of 20, and that is then converted to a scaled score, which is between 80 and 120. After the SATs are completed, you will be given a scaled score, a raw score, and also told whether your child is working at the expected standard or below the expected standard. Okay, so the guidance from the Department for Education shared some information on the scaled scores, and there's some examples from results in July 2017. The examples are on screen. I'll just read through them now. If you want to pause and read them in more detail, please, by all means, do so. So a child awarded a scale score of 100 is judged to have met the national standard in the area judged by the test. A child awarded with a scale score of more than 100 is judged to have exceeded the national standard and demonstrated a higher than expected knowledge of the curriculum for their age. A child that awarded less than 100 is judged to have not yet met the national standard and performed below the expectation for their age. Once the tests are completed, teachers will mark them and then convert these scores into scaled scores to inform the teacher assessment judgment. So SATs are completed at the end of Key Stage 1 in Year 2 and also at the end of Key Stage 2 in Year 6. Assessments take place in reading and maths, and schools will also optionally administer the English grammar, punctuation and spelling SAT in order to inform teacher assessment level of writing. All writing is assessed in-house, and that is moderated externally by the local authority, and we also moderate across the academy and across school as well. And all SATs take place in May. SATs this year will be taking place from Monday the 16th of May in Key Stage 1. Just hand over to Mrs Clark and I will take you through just the different papers that the children will be sitting.
So in reading, there's two papers. There's paper 1, which is a combined reading prompt and answer booklet, where the children work through the paper as one complete paper. It takes about 30 minutes to complete. However, it's not limited in time. If they need a little longer, that's okay. Paper 2 is an answer and a reading booklet separate. So they have a text to read and then they have an answer booklet to complete separately. It takes longer and again, is not strictly timed. This paper is often harder than the first paper, but the children will be used to answering these questions. We are going to practice a lot with them before they do it. So on the day, it will still just feel like a practice to them. We will not be telling them that they are sitting their SATs paper today, so there's nothing to worry about.
We also have the spelling, punctuation and grammar test,
which also consists of two papers. So there's a spelling paper. We read a list of words out to the children and they have to put the words into a sentence spelt correctly. It takes about 15 minutes to complete. The second paper is grammar, punctuation and vocabulary. They see these papers all the time. We do grammar every single week and the children are used to being tested on this. They complete it in read writing as well. So a lot of the children are doing very well at this and are not concerned by this paper in the slightest. It's about 20 minutes, but again, they can take longer if they need to.
And finally, the maths papers.
Again, there are two papers. There's an arithmetic paper and a reasoning paper. With the maths papers, we can read the papers to the children. We can't read the numbers, but we can read the words. So if it's a word problem, we can read the question to them as long as we don't read the numbers to the children. So if they're struggling with the reading, they can still access the maths paper. The arithmetic paper takes about 20 minutes. It covers all the operations that we've done in class, which is why we've got a focus at the moment on column addition and column subtraction, because it will help them to complete this paper easily. The second paper is reasoning. So the children complete reasoning activities every day in maths, but it's more sort of word problems and being able to explain how you've got to the answer. And and includes lots of different types of questions, but they do see these questions every day.
Perfect. And finally, helping with your child. One of the main things that we do here at Macefield, before I move on to Clara to go through this, is make sure the children are really ready for these. We want children to not really know that they're going to do them. It's just going to be like a normal day, a normal week, and it'll be no change for them at all. We know children perform best when they're not worried about anything, and we don't put any stress or pain onto them at all. We really want to develop the whole child here at Macefield, and this is just a very small part of the assessment that we are asked to do. But please don't add any pressure to your children. They'll do as they'll do, and we ask them to do one thing, and that is do your best. And they'll be well prepared for these. They're already well on track being prepared for these, and some of them won't even know that it's happened during the week. But there are some ways you can help your child, and Clara will go through these now.
So the most important thing we need to do is read at home. Every night, in the back of the reading books, there is a list of questions, so the children can answer these questions with you. It would be really helpful if you got them to write their answers down. Doesn't need to come into school, but just informally with them. Don't correct every spelling mistake, but get them to have a go at answering a question. Their homework is always maths, as you've seen, and those we're picking out now things that either the children have been learning in class, or whether it's something that we need to go back over in order to help them to complete the arithmetic paper. There's also TT Rockstars they can be practicing on. More than anything, just they don't need to worry. We're going to do lots of practices. Next week is testing week. There'll be a lot of practices in that week in itself, but also then each week from now on, they will be accessing papers and practicing and going through them with us, completing them with us and independently, so that on the day they won't be aware that it's the real thing. They're not going to be sat at tables in test conditions in the same way that they would be in year 6. It's supposed to be a relaxed environment, and it is ultimately a test that informs our teacher assessment. It's not the be all and end all for them.
Most certainly. As always, if you do have any questions, please don't hesitate to contact us at school. But thank you for watching this, and hopefully it's been useful for you.